the origins of this really was from my grandmother. My grandparents were Welsh, and they always used to refer to this as a Welsh supper, which we'd eat sometimes on a Sunday evening after a huge great roast at lunchtime. And it's got to be a peasant dish, like most peasant dishes around the world, you know, from any country. They're the most tastiest, and this is no exception. What I've got here are 3 potatoes, very thinly sliced, okay? And all I'm going to do, I put some olive oil in the pan. I'm just going to layer these, as I'm doing here. I've got quite a big pan, so I won't get too many layers. But I'll just show you. You can, if you use it in the small pan there, you can stack the thing up. So 3 potatoes we know are going to be a maximum of around 25 grams of carbs each. If we use the medium ones, these are smaller, so we can say less. So let's say they're 20 grams a piece. So there's 60 grams of carbs in this dish. So again, if I show this to these low carb, you know, die-hard lunatics, because they are crazy, they would just fall over and have a fit, because they're saying, how can you put carbohydrates like potatoes, the worst kind, if we're going to follow the glycemic index, into a dish and say it's healthy? Well, we've already covered that subject many times. So now I'm going to just layer some onion, raw. This is very raw, and I'm going to turn the gas on now very low. Okay, and these, the bottom of these potatoes will colour. So we've got, let's have a look, we've got onions, we've got potatoes, we've got some leeks over here. Oh, actually I'll go the other way around, and while I'm going, pick up another one of these amazing Kirin Ichiban low carb beers. Well, they're not low carb, as I said, 10 grams, but they're low carb today for me. So, leeks.
What are leeks?
Leeks, I don't know actually. I know they're Welsh. Well, they're not Welsh. I know in Wales when I used to go there, we used to eat them every day. But they're just like a root vegetable that I suppose it's from the onion family. I'd have thought from looking at it, tasting it. Here, why don't you taste one? Yeah, have a taste. Have a raw leek. So we've made an honorary Welshman out of Bobby now. Okay, he's actually curling his face up in disgust because of course it's not cooked. And now we take some cheese. Now, I'm lazy, I've got some grated cheese here, and I'll layer this across. So if you have a look in here, you can see. Okay. Now we do it again. So, more potatoes. Now, when you cook this, you're effectively steaming, because there's a lot of water in the onions and the leeks, and they will provide the moisture to create the steam. And if we have another quick look at our Spanish omelette, because it's still cooking nicely away, still no colour, those potatoes are now starting to break up even more, which is what we want. We'll come back to that in a second. So, you know, look, we've got 2 what you would call peasant dishes here. And there's no disrespect. I mean, peasant dishes is probably the nicest food in the world. If you go to any country, I mean, in Spain, it's something you would take a slice of omelette with some bread. The farmers would take it out, and you know they would take that to work with them. Now, and of course, it's very tasty. So there's the. Now, I haven't put any salt on because the cheese is very salty. Another layer of onions. And some more leeks. And what we would do at this point is put more potatoes on, but again, I'm trying to be sensible. I could easily take another potato here and layer it on and make it. In fact, that's what I'm going to do. So let's take a break there. I'm going to put another layer of potato on the top and take the carb content up to 80 grams. Okay, so let me get another potato, I'll come back to you. Okay, so I've just quickly got hold of another potato here. I'll put some more with some onions. So we've taken the carb content up now to 80 grams, because these are fairly small potatoes. We've got 4 of them. And we will just sprinkle some more cheese over the top. Again, this will just give it a lovely, really cheesy flavour, and what you would do with cheese with this. A little bit of black pepper. I don't bother with salt, as I said, because it's too. There's enough salt anyway. And what we do now is just cover it. And great, I've now got a lid that doesn't fit, so I have to go and find one in a second. Now, on the subject of our favourite little tipple here, which is Chris and I are enjoying. Chris is sitting here in the back there, noting everything down for the recipes. There's a great book you want to all have a look at, and it's called The Science of Healthy Drinking by Gene Ford. So there's another little bit of a promotion for you, because my wife is concerned that I don't drink enough. And my doctor's always telling me to get more fluids into my body, so yeah, here we go for that one. But it explains a lot of probably how the French, Spanish, Italians drink copious amounts of wine and live a very long, healthy lifestyle. But there you go, a little interlude there. I'll bring this over to sit next to the tortilla, and you can see, look, that's it. And there's all those crispy bits at the bottom, which I'll show you. If we have a look, they may see, yeah, it's burnt a little bit on the bottom, so we won't eat that. So I'll loosen it and turn it over. So I'll let that cool down, then I'll flip it over, and then you can see if it's burnt too much. It might be okay. Let's taste it. Might be too burnt actually. No, it's okay. Now, it's actually not okay. So here you go. Here's real cooking for you. Not one I'm going to throw it in the bin and start again. I'm not going to eat the bottom layer because we've left it on too long. I actually thought I'd turn the gas off, I hadn't. So it's burnt. So what I'm going to do now is scoop the middle out here and leave that layer on the bottom because it is too burnt. So you can see there, look, it's way too burnt. So that's what happens when you drink wine and don't pay attention and think you've turned the gas off when you actually haven't. Completely inedible, the bottom part, but the middle part is very, very nice. But what I usually do with this dish is I cook it for about 15 minutes, or maybe even 10 minutes, very lowly. Then I flip it over and put it in the oven and finish it off. But today, that's my mistake. Too much talking, not thinking. Gas was still on when I thought it was off and just sitting there, and it's burnt. But we can save the middle layer. It'll still taste good. Okay, so look at this. This is what, when you don't pay attention to cooking, this is what happens. I like to call that, well caramelised. Actually, it's burnt. But funny enough, it doesn't taste that bad. If you take the bits around the edges here that are not so black. But we're not going to bother with that piece, but this stuff is still edible. Very, very nice. Soft potatoes, leeks, cheese, you have to taste it. So when you're cooking this, there you go, look, don't take your eye off the pan and don't leave it sitting there, because that's what happens. I'm actually going to eat that, funny enough, because it's going to taste, it actually tastes not too bad. It doesn't look very good, and it should not look that way. Okay? So, totally my fault, just shows you what can happen when you don't pay full attention. No excuses whatsoever. But this is what we're going to eat.